Okay, 11.1 day two. We're not going to learn anything new. We're just going to apply what we know in different situations. Okay, so example one says Daniel has earned test scores of 75%, 81%, and 88% on his first chapter test of the semester. What is the mean of his test scores? I'm going to call this T slash because it's the mean of his test scores. So the mean, we're going to add up the scores 75 plus 81 plus 88. 244 and divide by 3 test scores. So it's about 81.3, and these are percents. So the mean test score is 81.3. And if I look at the data, that seems like a correct average. Okay, part B. Okay, if he gets 100% on his next chapter test, will this bring his mean test grade up to a 90%? Show or explain. Well, let's recalculate his mean then. Okay, now his mean test score is, see, he's going to get 100%. So it's 75 plus 81 plus 88. Now we're going to add 100 to that. Well, I know these already add up to 244. So now let's add 100. So that's going to be 344. Okay, but then I'm not dividing by 3 anymore because he had 1, 2, 3 tests. Now he has had 4 tests. So 344 divided by 4. So that's going to bring his test average up to an 86%, which helped, but he's still not to an A. Okay, example 2. Abby has earned a 68%, a 71%, a 75%, and a 76% on her first 4 tests. What is the mean of her first 4 test grades? Let's go with the mean of her test scores. Okay, let's add them up. Okay, so I got 290 divided by how many tests? 1, 2, 3, 4 tests. Okay, so the mean 72.5, and these are percents because they're test grades. And that seems right. If I get an answer that seems wrong, then I would double check my arithmetic or make sure I divided by the correct amount. Okay, she thinks she can get an 85% on the next 2 tests. What will that bring her average up to? So she already had 4 tests. Now she wants to get another 85% and another 85%. So I'm going to do this plus this plus this plus this plus the 285s. Okay, so that's 290 plus the 285s that she thinks she's going to get on her next 2 tests. Okay, so now her test average is 460 divided by, now how many tests has she had? Well, she had 4 before, and now she's had 2 more, so now she's got 6 tests. Okay, so her test grade is now around 76.6 or 76.7%. So it came up some. Okay, example 3. Valeria is trying to maintain her A, but she has a bad case of senioritis. She has earned 100%, 94%, 91, and 88% on her test so far. Good job, Valeria. How low a score can she earn on the next test to maintain a summative average of at least 90%? Okay, let's call our next test X. Okay, so I want her average or her mean to equal 90% to make sure she keeps her A minus. Okay, so let's add up all her scores. This, and then X. So those first 4 scores are 373. Then I need to add in the test she is going to take on her next test, divided by the number of tests. So she had 1, 2, 3, 4, plus her next test is going to make it 5. We want her average to equal 90 so she can keep her A. Let's solve. I'm going to times a cross multiplier or times 5 to the other side. So 373 plus X equals 90 times 5. 450. Okay, let's move the 373. Okay, so what do we got 77. So on her next test, she only needs to get a 77% to maintain her A minus average. Okay, example 4. Will has A's in 5 of his classes. His 6th class is PE. For GPA, A is 4, B is 3, C is 2, D is 1, and F is 0. He does not want to dress for PE and he will fail. So he's going to get an F in PE. What will his GPA be? Okay, so he's got 4 A's. No, he's got 5 A's. So he's got 5 A's and then he's got 1 F. And F is worth 0 and A is worth 4. So 5 times 4, 20 plus 0, 20. Divided by how many classes does he have? Actually, let me label this. I'm going to label this GPA. What was it, 20? 20 divided by, he has 6 classes. His 6th class is PE. So 20 divided by 6 is, his GPA will be 3.333333 or something like that, which is like a B average, maybe a B plus. Not bad. Not great if he would just dress for PE. Okay, part B. Will has decided that he will dress for PE, but he won't do any activities. We think this will earn him a C in PE. What will his GPA be now? Okay, well, if he gets a C in PE, a C is worth 2 points. So now he's got 5 classes where he got 4 points, so 20 plus the 2 in PE. Now he's at, his GPA is going to be 22 points divided by his 6 classes. Let's see if we can get his GPA. Oh, that helped a lot. Now he's up to 3.66666, or maybe like 3.67 GPA. Okay, last example. Maya and Nora are vying for Player of the Week. The following are the number of points they each scored per game for the last 5 games. Find each of their mean number of points per game and their standard deviations. Okay, so Maya's mean, let's add up her point, 34 plus 5. Okay, so her total was 83 divided by 5 games. So she's averaging 16.6 points per game. Okay, let's look at Nora's mean. So let's add up hers. 15 plus. Okay, so she had 84 divided by 5. 16.8 points per game. Very close, actually. Okay, we're going to compare their standard deviation. So let's do Maya first. Let me write all her points along here. So she had 34, 5, 9, 28, and 7. What was her mean? Her mean was 16.6. So I'm going to do x minus 16.6. And I'm going to pause while I enter everything in my calculator. Okay, so I filled out my first column, and then just to make sure I do it right before I square it, I'm going to add up this column. And do I get 0? Yes, I get 0, which means that I'm correct. So now I'm going to go ahead and take each one of these values and then square them. So 17.4 squared is 302.76. I'm going to go ahead and keep doing the rest. Okay, I filled out my third column and I'm adding up all these numbers and I get 717.19. Okay, so let me find my standard deviation. Okay, that's going to be of my total divided by how many games? 5? Okay, so the square root of 717.19 divided by 5. So my standard deviation is 11.97. So about 12. That's how much she varies from her average of 16.6. Okay, let me try Nora's now. Okay, so I copied Nora's points per game. Her mean is 16.8. So I'm going to do 15 minus 16.8. I get negative 1.8, and I'm going to go ahead and keep filling out this chart. Okay, and I'm adding up that second column, and it adds up to 0. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to take these values and square them. And then remember, because it's a negative, but it's being squared, it's going to turn to a positive. So I get 3.24 for the first one. Okay, and then they add up to 54.8. Okay, so standard deviation for Nora is the square root of 54.8 divided by 5, and I'm going to put the whole thing in my calculator at the same time. So I got about 3.3. Okay, now we're going to compare their means and standard deviation, and then based on that, you are going to decide who should be the player of the week. Okay, what do we have? Maya's mean and Nora's mean. Who's it? Okay, Nora's mean is a teeny bit higher. Nora's mean is a little higher. Hold on, little. But it's so close, I don't think it's going to make much difference, but they are very close. Okay, now for their standard deviation, Maya's standard deviation is 12 and Nora's is 3.3. So those are quite different because when you're only averaging 16.8 or 17 points, Maya's deviation is 12 from her mean. So Maya is deviating. Maya is, hold on. Okay, so I wrote, while Maya is deviating 12 points from her mean, while Nora only varies about 3.3 points from the mean. They both had about the same mean, 16.6, 16.8, that's still about the same thing. So the question is, who do you think should be player of the week? This is an opinion question. Okay, I think you could argue either way, so I'm going to give you ideas and you're going to write what you want. Okay, let's see. If Nora's only deviating about 3.3 points from the mean, that means she's very consistent. She always scores about the same amount of points per game, so she might be very reliable. She might be very consistent. You can count on her. Maya is deviating 12 points from her mean, which means sometimes she scores a lot of points and sometimes she scores very little points. So that could be, if you think that's great, because maybe on a big game she scores a lot of points, then that could be an advantage if she has a great game that brings them over the top. So you're going to write which one you believe is your opinion, and then you're done with your notes.